Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we talked about so Millerite Adventists. These people said, "Oh, 1844, Jesus is not coming," but he didn't come. So what was the majority of people? What did they say?
Wrong date.
Wrong date. Okay, they said we got the wrong date, and then so they kept calculating over another one and this date, and they eventually what happened? Because Jesus, they can't keep doing that, right? Forever, people just keep getting disappointed. So they went back to their own denomination, back to churches, and some people left Christianity altogether. Okay, all right. So what happened to now? There's two groups here. What did this group say about 1844?
It's a different event.
Okay, so date is correct.
Yeah.
We got the calculations correct, but something else happened. Okay. Oh, sorry. So this group said 1844 is the wrong date. This date says 1844 is good. And then one group said, what happened on that day? Jesus came spiritually. Okay. And then this day, this right here, something else happened. Yeah, something, and we'll talk about that today more specifically. Yeah, but something happened in heaven. Okay, and then we call them Seventh-day Adventists. Okay, Seventh-day Adventists. Okay. So this is what we reviewed last week. What are the 5 S's? By the way, these are not like official 5 S's or nothing like that, right? But these are just kind of some of the unique messages of Seventh-day Adventism. So sanctuary, Sabbath, second coming, 2 more. Okay, hint is Ellen White, Spirit of prophecy, and then next one is about hell, or related to hell.
State of the dead.
State of the dead. Okay, these are the 5 S's. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
There's something called feast keeping.
Feast keeping.
And there's some Seventh-day Adventists that have said that we should keep
the feast.
The feast.
Yeah, the Jewish festival.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything that you have.
That's not in the. I think that's maybe. I've never heard of it personally, and I've never seen an argument for it.
Because around here, like even a couple of years ago when I was still attending church, I remember some people would tell me, you have to do the feast keeping thing.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like I looked into it, but there's only so far I got into it. I know there's a book written out there.
I see.
But I'll see if I can find a copy of it because I mean this just makes me think about it.
Yeah. But definitely nothing to do with like 28, like nothing in the official website of our fundamental beliefs.
No, it's just some kind of like offshoot.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps, yeah. All right. Today we're gonna go over 3 of the 5. And the next week, we'll finish the last 2. Okay? Discussion starters. Go for it. So, this group right here and then group right here. You guys can discuss.
It was
the same word,
the concept of salvation.
Before that, I think the main concept. What? Yeah. But before that, the reason why God gave the tabernacle or sanctuary to the Israelites
we always
is
had to visit
that's
it.
the dwelling place.
In Oklahoma,
So during
they have like a
the
life
wilderness,
site.
like 40 years,
Yeah, right. Every year.
they were moving, right? And God wanted to be with them. And then
That's how they do it in Texas. Oklahoma.
Where is it? Where is that?
And then he said that this is the place that I will be with you. So that was so in the beginning.
But Indiana Jones found it.
Start with that God wants to stay with the not living, but that's the dwelling place. That's what they started it, and then also God explained to them like how to systematically or to ask for forgiveness. Right. So there's the sacrifice animals, that symbolizes Jesus, and then there's a holy place, most holy place, right? and the most holy place only once a year. All the sins that they were infecting will be clean.
No, just like
And that will be
into,
those are the
into that,
so.
what is that whole thing called?
So that's the beginning of the tabernacle, how we started it, and then what was the
That whole thing that's fenced in,
function or
called
like,
the tabernacle.
how they use it for. As far as I know, and what do you know about the SDAs?
I
You
don't
know about the heavenly sanctuary, but when God said that I will give you this,
I know,
he
like,
said there's
inside.
heavenly sanctuary. Same
It's the
concept,
sanctuary.
like
There's the
same
whole thing.
the order, and there's a heavenly sanctuary Bible says it, and we think that
The
that's
whole
where
thing,
the
obviously.
God is.
Tabernacle is just the 10th version.
Yeah.
Sanctuary is the building.
Building.
So, like when Solomon made it.
So,
Oh, I'm like only envisioning the tent.
Yeah, the only thing it makes me think about is the sacrificial system and the whole plan of salvation. Like, your sins have to be
What do you know about
paid for in a
SDAs?
certain way, or this is kind of St. Paul, like, something has to take the place.
To be honest, I don't know.
Are you taking my
so
answer?
that's like kind of symbolic, yes. And what Seventh Day Adventists believes about the heavenly sanctuary and then 1844
I know.
is that Jesus went into
You guys even visited the
most
earthly
holy place.
sanctuary.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the time that what they do is,
Texas.
you know, Seventh Day Adventists believe that
I
investigation.
think go to the
has-
heavenly sanctuary.
And we can talk about investigation,
Don't just
judgment,
you
will
believe
be
that
very,
like during the
uh,
Great Depression, it
complicated,
wasn't
but
like
as far as
his
I,
second
how I
coming,
understand
but it
it,
was like
simplified
Jesus
as
going
that,
into the
like,
most
you know,
holy
there's
place.
a trial going
Like he was
on,
living in heaven.
and
Yeah.
Jesus is the judge, and then the
That's
Satan
it,
is
that's
the prosecutor, and Jesus is
what?
I
our
don't know that was the name for
and
it.
then whole universe is watching.
Heavenly sanctuary?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's the name for it.
Satan is
Which means
accusing
there
us
is one in heaven,
that
right?
Yeah.
they cannot be saved because of our action. You know, our action is not
I think
perfect.
there
they
is
cannot be saved. And what Jesus is saying is that if their action is not, but they believe in me.
One more minute.
And I paid for their sin,
case.
so they can be saved. That's the way of investigation that I'm understanding. Some
that's
people,
cool.
some Adventists are
That's really
saying that,
cool.
like, the investigation, the judgment is that, like, God is checking, oh, okay, let's see how you live. Whether you live, like, good, so you can be saved or not. But I don't think that's right.
All right. Let's come back together. Jimsani, by the way, who are those two new kids?
So there's their grandma visiting from New York, and they moved. I think their parents moved here in September. So they're just visiting.
But the parents are not here though?
Their grandparents came,
But not their parents.
not
They,
today.
the parents came to drop them off, so they'll come later to pick them up.
Drop them off and pick them up.
Oh, poor kids. They get stuck. Okay. Any of you guys watched this movie?
No.
Okay. If you haven't, I'm sorry because I'm gonna ruin the movie for you because I'm gonna tell you what happens. The basic premise of this movie is Will Smith. He was texting while driving, and so while he was driving, he gets into a car accident. His fiance, who was next to him, dies, and then he kills 6 other people, including his fiance. And the whole movie is about like, how do I deal with this guilt that I have? And basically, at the end, he chooses 7 different strangers that needs organ donors, and then he kills himself so that the whole concept is, I feel guilty for taking away 6 people's lives. So therefore, I must die to save 6 people's life. Okay? The reason why I share that, 7. I think it's 6 including his fiance. Yeah, so 7, yeah, 7, yeah, all right.
That's why the seven come.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the whole concept of this movie, the reason I'm sharing it is this idea of atonement. Okay? It's basically, I have this sin, I have this guilt, and I have to live with it. But we talked about guilt in our YAM study, young adult study as well. It's like you owe something, then you're going to always have this feeling of I owe something until you actually pay for it. Okay? So, Jesus, or God, gave them commandment when they were in the wilderness. So the Israelites, they just came out of Egypt. And by the way, I'm going to go over these things pretty quick. Okay, later on, maybe next year, I'll go more in detail. But I'm going to go over it pretty quick. Okay, so just letting you know. This is the tabernacle. Okay. And so this whole idea is that, hey, you're in sin. Okay, and because you have sin, there is guilt. You must pay for it. Okay, but instead of you dying or destroying yourself, right, I'm going to create a system where you bring an animal instead. Okay, so again, it's kind of like this concept, right? He couldn't bear that weight. Well, he himself, he couldn't bear it, so he destroys himself at the end, right? But instead, God says, I'll give you a way out, okay, by sacrificing something else. And that's called tabernacle. But the whole goal of the tabernacle, okay, that's like the thing, but the whole idea of it is right here. Have them make a sanctuary for me, and I will dwell with them. Right? That's the whole concept, right? Is that because of sin that has separated us from God. And so the whole concept is so that you could be right with God. You don't have to be in guilt. You don't have to be in shame. But now that you made a sacrifice, you could actually be with God, and God could be with you. Okay? We're looking at this one. We're looking at it from a bird's eye view. Okay, so by the way, this is flipped. Like, I couldn't flip it. So this is here.
Yeah.
And then this is here. Okay, so just letting you know. Okay, this is outer court. This is the outside. And so what would happen is you would come in with usually a lamb. But if you were poor, like Jesus' parents were, you could actually bring pigeons as well. Okay, and that's how we know that their parents, Jesus' parents were poor. Okay, so anyways, you come in and right here, and then what do? You come in front of the priest. Okay, and then you are holding that animal. You're holding that animal right in front of you, and the priest comes, okay, kills the animal in front of you, and takes the blood. Okay, and then takes the animal from you. So your sin gets transferred to the animal itself, and then the priest comes in here. There's a lot of different services, and then afterwards he goes inside, and this is called the most holy place. Okay.
That's the holy place.
Oh, sorry. I'm like circling it. The most holy place. Okay. Yeah, thank you. The holy place. Okay, so this is inside the tent here. Only the priest could go inside. Okay, no one else. And then, this is the most holy place, but what's in between here? There's like a curtain, and we call that the veil. Okay, and by the way, every time they make a sacrifice, they do all the different rituals, and then they come in with the blood that they just spilled, and then what do? They spray the blood onto the veil. Okay. Now, what happens? When do the priests actually go in this place?
Once a year.
Okay, once a year, and it's called.
Great Atonement.
Okay. It's called Day of Atonement. Okay, or in Hebrew they call it Yom Kippur. Butchered it. It's called Day of Atonement. Okay, so basically, the high priest, okay, the high priest once a year could go in here, and this is supposed to be like the throne room of God. Like this is where God is. Okay, and so once a year they go in, and what's the whole point of the Day of Atonement is for them to cleanse all of the tabernacle, everything. So it cleanses. So think of like the regular everyday sacrifice as like individual cleansing. Okay, but think of Day of Atonement as cleansing the whole world, or the whole nation of Israel, once a year. Okay, that's what happened. Okay? Now, right now you guys might be like, okay, why are we talking about all of this? It's pretty important. Okay, we'll get to it. So first. The reason why we're sharing that is because what do SDAs believe? I told you guys, SDAs say in 1844, okay, Jesus did not come here, but something else happened. So what do they believe? Seventh-day Adventists believe that right here, Jesus, he died on the cross right here. Right? He was the sacrifice instead of us, right? So we brought kind of like if we bring Jesus, but that didn't happen. But anyway, so Jesus died here, and then after that, he went to heaven. And then when he went to heaven, where did he go? He went into the holy place in heaven. Okay? And then in 1844, it says the tabernacle will be cleansed. It talks about that. So William Miller and other people thought, oh, that means Jesus is coming on earth to cleanse it. But remember, Day of Atonement, right? So what they believed, they realized, oh, we were wrong. What it means by cleansing is now Jesus is going to go into the most holy place in 1844. Because that's when the whole cleansing happens, after he goes into the most holy place. Okay? All right, so people say, oh, SDAs, they're just making up stuff. They were so disappointed. There's no sanctuary in heaven. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about next. Is there really, obviously, we know that there's a tabernacle or sanctuary on earth, but do we know for sure that there is a heavenly sanctuary? Okay, and that's what we'll talk about. Here's some of the Bible verses. Abby?
And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell in their midst. Exactly as I show you concerning the pattern of the tabernacle, and of all its furniture, so you shall make it. And see that you make them after the pattern for them, which is being shown you on the mountain.
Oh, okay. So he says, make the tabernacle, make the sanctuary, but what? How do you make it how? Exactly what?
Shown in the mountain.
Okay, shown on the mountain. So that means what? There is another sanctuary somewhere else. Does that make sense? It says, follow the pattern, same exact pattern. Okay, let's go to the next one.
They serve a copy and shadow of the heavenly things. For when Moses was about to erect the tent, he was instructed by God, saying, see that you make everything according to the pattern that was shown you on the mountain.
Okay, because if we just look at this, maybe he's just saying, oh, maybe God gave him a blueprint, right? But here, Hebrews actually quotes this verse by saying, hey, this is what? Copy and a shadow of heavenly thing. So it tells you right here that there is a heavenly sanctuary. I'll give you a couple more. Oh, Trudy.
Oh. We have such a high priest, one who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in heaven, a minister in the holy places, in the tabernacle that Lord set up, not man.
Okay, so again, is this pretty clear as well? Okay, it makes it pretty clear that there is a heavenly sanctuary. It's also made it clear what? That Jesus
The minister in the holy place.
in the holy place. Okay, here's one more.
For Christ has entered not into holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true things, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God on our behalf.
Okay, so again, this makes it pretty clear. After Jesus left, he went into the holy place. Okay? All right. So again, this is from Daniel's here. It says, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, then the sanctuary shall be restored to its rightful state. So again, the whole we can't go over the whole 2,300 year thingy. Okay, but this is kind of the thing. And they said, oh, 1844, Jesus is coming back. They realized, oh, the sanctuary shall be restored to its rightful place. Oh, that must mean it's the Day of Atonement. So therefore, he must have gone in to the most holy place. So now, that's why this is why Adventists say now, we're really at the end times. Like we're at the toe of that. Remember last week we talked about that statue? And then there was the head of, silver. And they say, why? Because before, again, it was still in the process. Okay? But now that he went to the most holy place, once he comes out, then what's going to happen? That's the second coming. Okay? And when is he going to come back? We don't know. Right? So Seventh-day Adventists, we haven't done any dating ever since then. Okay? But we said, okay, we're at the end times because he's here now. Okay? Oh, yeah, no. How's your back? Oh.
Not getting better?
Okay, so any clarifications or questions? I know I went over this very quickly, but any questions, clarifications? Okay, so the whole idea is now he's in there, okay, and then the whole point is he wants to cleanse not only our individual sins, but he wants to cleanse the whole universe of sin as well. And that's the idea of Day of Atonement. Okay. Alrighty, get together with partners and then we'll go to the next section. Go for it.
Oh, no. So that's for the.
I guess if, when he showed like
next
kind of like the math that they did,
not
find out the
redoing.
atonement, I thought
Not
that was
redoing. Yeah, because you know. So the first two questions is about the previous one that we discussed, and then 3 and 4 and the question for the next part. That we're going to discuss. The mark of the bears and then the Sabbath is Sabbath Sunday.
Yeah, but.
That's the belief. Is there anything new that you found about the heavenly sanctuary or sanctuary?
Know about the connection between the Sabbath and the mark of the beast.
Yeah, those we are going to
You're
discuss.
very into the mark of the beast.
Vaccine mark of the beast.
No, it is not.
Microchip.
No, it is not.
It's that COVID
I guess
vaccine.
that
Elon Musk.
I didn't know about the whole
What's it called? Neuralink.
thing in that area. So
It's gonna be the eye in the
What
sky,
about you?
man, Big Brother, 1984.
Saturn has an eye.
Two.
Do you know about that? The storm?
I'm not sure
The North Pole?
how important it is.
Marketplace is in the Revelation. It says like if you receive the
Most of them just don't know.
I don't know exactly in English word, but like the mark of God, then that's the sign that you're going to receive. If you receive the mark of faith, that's a sign that you're not going to receive.
Yeah.
It talks about it, so we need to know like we should
Yeah.
discuss like,
They don't know they should be.
That's what we need to talk about, but I don't think it's sufficient.
How is it not physical? It says right hand or forehead?
Based on what you do with fake.
Dude, I'm done with Christianity right now. I've had enough today.
why would they say the cow?
Yeah.
Because the thing is,
Yeah, it's gonna.
So think about it.
Emperor,
Think
whatever,
about
is the one
it.
who
If it's a
so
physical, what my understanding is,
why would you change your
if you,
faith? if it was-
what if you should get it by accident? Do you think it's gonna work?
Okay, but you can't buy or sell or trade that, right? When you get the mark of the beast?
No. So that's what the Bible says, So we're saying that, if we do not know the mark that we're getting is not the mark of the beast, we didn't know that it meant that, and we got it.
Oh, so you're saying we're gonna know.
You guys are done?
Of course,
Okay.
we have
We're
to.
thinking.
But we may not say like, oh, okay, I decided to get this mark, that
Are
is
we
not.
that have the mark or
How are
other
we gonna
people?
be saved? How we all talked about it. How are we gonna be saved? By our faith. How we know that I have a faith?
Faith is
We don't have
like your own, like God,
So
like
you and now know.
to me, whatever, but then to you it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we need to talk about it and discuss and try to learn, and then we need to ask God. And then obviously the Bible will give different answers, but about the main concept is the same. And what we are understanding is that like Paul says that.
I feel like it's
Like
so
this is
much of
like-
the population is
So my understanding is the marketplace is not really physical, that we're getting the mark from hand or email. We said our thing of what we do.
But that part, it says you can't buy, sell, or trade, right?
We don't know.
Oh, because like that was a choice, getting the vaccination or not.
No.
Well, okay, but also, it is a choice. Also, you can't, dang, what was I gonna say? Hold on, give me a second.
So let me put it this way.
Okay.
Yeah, some people say that like getting vaccine will ruin it for your certain actions that you do or not.
That's what I'm saying. I'm restricted from doing things.
Okay, but there's other things that you're restricted because of the law.
Oh yeah. Our freedoms are being taken away every day.
I don't want to, because the freedom always comes with a responsibility. If you only focus on the freedom, you can say oh, they're blocking me doing what I want to do.
No, obviously, but then that should be like a clear-cut thing.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay.
So again, now we're going to go into the second and the third S, which is the Sabbath, and then second coming. Which is actually also, I just realized, the whole point of our church as well. So these two next S's are very important. Seventh day, Sabbath. Adventist. Adventist meaning the second coming. And you'll see today why we're called Seventh-day Adventist. So let's talk about the Sabbath. Let's read the fourth commandment really quick. Remember the seventh day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But on the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you should not do any work, neither you nor your son, daughter, male, female servant, animal, foreigner residing in your town. For in the 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and all that's in them. This is very important. I'm going to explain why later. This is going to come into play. And all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day and made it holy. What are some of the reasons why people go to church on Sunday instead of Saturday? Even though it says it pretty clearly, remember the seventh day by keeping it. Oh, and by the way, just because you go to church on Saturday doesn't mean that you're keeping the Sabbath. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But why do most people go to church on Sunday? What are some of the reasons that you guys know of? Tradition? Okay.
So how the church is started?
Yeah.
What other reasons nowadays?
Maybe the calendar. That's
What about
the
it?
seventh day on the calendar.
Okay, so people don't know that they believe that Monday is the first day and then Sunday is the last day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So good. Okay, so most go because of tradition. They don't even think about it. They're like, oh, of course you go to church on Sunday. And some people think Sabbath is on Sunday. Now, if you look at actually a Korean calendar, it actually starts on Monday.
some.
Oh, not all of it?
No. Because that's what the Catholics trying to do. Like most of the calendars in all around the world start a Sunday and then Saturday. Some they make it
Mm.
They said because Jesus rose on Sunday, that's the new day.
Very good. Okay. Jesus rose on Sunday. So therefore, of course, we worship that day.
But the historians usually start saying that at the beginning of the Christian church when started it, they were persecuting the Jewish people because they killed Jesus and blah blah blah, and then they could not distinguish Christians and the Jewish people. They all go to church on Saturday, and one theory is saying that at that time, some people who was worshiping sun, they were having worship on Sunday, and they was like, they were trying to, the early Christians trying to distinguish from the Jewish people, so that they only worship on Sunday. That's one. And then the other, the Roman Catholic cleared it. I didn't see it. I met the person who say that he saw the document that Roman Catholic clears that, Roman Catholic changed the Sabbath to Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah, the Catholics are not shy about it. No, because remember, the whole idea is who has the power? The church has power, and the Pope has power. So he again, he's the vicar of Christ. So if he decides he wants to change it, that's the power vested in him. So they're not shy about it. Okay, so some people think that the Old Testament laws are done away with. So everything in the Old Testament, who cares? Like those are all like the old stuff. We just have to follow the New Testament stuff. Some people, like you said, some people say that disciples met on Sunday. So therefore, hey, we should celebrate Sunday as well. And then some say, it doesn't matter what day, as long as you keep the Sabbath. Day is not important. Right? But all of these arguments don't really work. Because in conclusion, there's no biblical evidence for not keeping the Sabbath. Because just because they worshipped on Sunday, well, you could worship any day you want. But that doesn't mean that that's keeping the Sabbath.
But the Bible doesn't say that they had a worship, they had a meeting on Sunday.
Sure. But it does say they got together
On
and...
Sunday.
Yeah,
But there's other verses that they went to the sanctuary on Sabbath.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the concept. That's at least the concept of Sabbath. Okay. Again, I'm gonna go into a lot more deeper once we do. Like, I'm gonna focus on one and spend the whole week on it. But I'm going over these pretty fast. Okay. Now, how is this related? Because SDAs believe this is gonna be the Sabbath is gonna be related to the end times. So that's where we're going. I'm gonna summarize it. There's a war between God and his people against Satan and his people. Okay, all of this is from Revelations 12 and 13 if you want to look at it. And then here it says God's people are those who keep God's commands and hold fast their testimony about Jesus. So they believe in Jesus, but because they believe in Jesus, they also hold on to the commands of Jesus as well. That's important. I'm going to talk about that. Sea beast. It's a composite beast. Composite of the... Oh, actually, I'm going to confuse it more. But it's the beast from Daniel chapter 7. Anyways, sea beast, okay, and earth beast appear, and they start persecuting God's people and fool people into worshiping the beast. Again, I can't explain why right now. But sea beast is the Pope and the Catholic Church. SDAs believe.
Do they still believe that?
Absolutely. 10,000%.
I thought there was something that went against that, but it's not.
No. Yeah. 100,000%.
Okay.
Yeah, the Pope and the Catholic Church. And there's not like individual like Pope. We're not saying like that individual Pope, but the Pope, like that position itself, right? Okay, and the Catholic Church. And then again, we see this, you see this, I can't go over right now, but in Daniel 7, you see this, Daniel 8, again, there's some good argument. It's not like, I think the Catholic. By the way, most Protestant churches, before nowadays, most of them thought that the Pope and the Catholic Church was also the beast as well. So it's not just like the SDAs, they're like bullying the Catholics. Okay? Okay. And the earth beast, again, I can't explain everything, but it's the United States. Okay? And this is where Mark of the Beast comes in. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this is what they says. Okay? So the earth beast and the sea beast, they're going to join hand in hand. So the Pope and the Catholic Church and the United States, they're going to join hand to hand. And then it also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave. So basically, they're trying to say everybody, every single person, regardless of your, wherever you're at, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name, which we know as 666. Okay? So we don't know exactly how it's going to happen. Okay, and this is where there's a lot of different arguments. So some people say it might be the vaccine. Some people say it's going to be a microchip. Some people say it's something else. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't say. But something's going to happen. SDAs believe that the Pope and the Catholic Church and the United States, somehow, they're going to create some kind of law. Okay? And then they believe that once they make this law, you either receive the mark or you don't receive it. So obviously, most people are going to receive the mark. Why? Because you can't buy or sell. Let's keep going. And then this is where SDAs believe like this is going to happen. Okay? Again, this was chapter 12, chapter 13. Now we're going to go to chapter 14. So these are all related. Then I saw another angel flying in midair, and he had the eternal gospel to proclaim to those who live on the earth, to every nation, tribe, language, and people. Again, he's talking to everybody. He said in a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of the judgment has come. Worship him." Okay, it's about worship. Worship him who made the heavens, earth, sea, and the springs of water. Where is this referencing? Where did you see this? This exact phrasing. Worship who made the heavens, earth, and the sea, and the springs of water. Do you guys know where this is an exact reference from? I showed you guys.
Is it from the commandment?
It's from the 10th commandment. Okay? Made the heavens, earth, and the sea. Okay? So it's SDA's belief that this is talking about the Sabbath. It's about worship. Because if you look at Revelation, it's all about worship. Over here, for the sea beast and the earth beast, they want you to worship them. And then this whole concept, this angel comes and says, no, you need to worship God instead of worshiping the beast. And he references over here the 4th commandment specifically. Second angel followed and said, "Fallen, fallen, the Babylon of great, which made all the nations drink the maddening wine of her adulteries." And then the third angel, and by the way, this is called 3 angels' message, if you guys heard of that phrase. A third angel followed them and said in a loud voice, "If anyone worships," so again, the idea is worship. Worship God. Stop worshiping the beast instead. Worship God. "If anybody worships the beast and its image and receive its mark on the forehead," so it's about worship. Who you worship. Okay, that's going to determine whether you receive the mark or not. They too will drink the wine of God's fury, which has been poured full strength into the cup of his wrath. They will be tormented with burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angel and of the Lamb. This calls for the patient endurance on the part of the people of God. What? Who keeps his commands. We heard that phrasing before, right? Commands and remains faithful to Jesus. Okay. So obviously, Sunday church people don't say, "Oh, the 10th commandment, that's like Old Testament." They don't say that, right? They say, "Oh, all of it is very important." But which commandment do they not follow? 4th commandment. They don't care about the 4th. They just skip right on to the 4th. Okay. So, long story short, this is what SDAs, after reading all of this, this is what the conclusion that they have come with. Okay? They believe the Pope and the Catholic Church and then the USA, they're gonna they're gonna get together somehow, okay? And they're gonna say, okay, something, and then they're gonna pass the Sunday law. Okay? Maybe for sake of peace. Perhaps, maybe for sake of safety. And you guys might say, "Oh, no, government can't regulate us," and things like that. But it's like, hey, after COVID happened, you could see a lot of things can be possible. Okay, I'm not saying COVID is like, I don't know. Maybe it is, I don't know. But what I'm saying is like, because of safety, there's a lot of things we did. Again, that's so what they're going to do is they're going to set some kind of Sunday law where you have to go to church on Sunday. Like you have to religiously believe Sunday. Okay? Therefore, whether you worship on Saturday or Sunday, whether you keep God's commandment and worship God instead of worshiping the beast, that's going to determine whether you receive the mark of the beast or not. But this is very important. We're not saying, SDAs are not saying, because some people say, "Oh, so if you go to church on Saturday, that's when you're saved. Or if you go to church on Sunday, you're not saved." We're not saying that. Okay? We're just saying, SDAs are saying, at the end time when the Sunday law passes, that will be the indicator whether you are a true believer or not. Now, of course, SDAs say, "Oh, then you should start worshiping now." So that when the Sunday law happens, then you're actually going to worship God on the Sabbath. Instead of just saying, "Oh, I'll just wait until then, and then when that time comes, then I'll start worshiping. Does that make sense? Because that never happens. It's like, oh, I'll start like dieting later. No, never happens. Okay? So that's the basic concept. So Sabbath, yes, it's important because it's one of the 10 commandments, but for Seventh-day Adventists, it's a lot more than that. Because that actually becomes, again, kind of like the test, whether you're a real Christian or not. Okay, so that's why we're called Seventh-day Adventist. Any questions or clarifications I can make? How it's going to happen? When it's going to happen? Is it the vaccine? Is it COVID? I can't tell you any of that stuff because the Bible doesn't say. Okay? But it seems like, hey, this mark of the beast, it's definitely around worship. And Sabbath is all about like worship. And so again, that's the connection that SDAs are making. Okay? Questions, clarifications, anything I didn't make sense? Okay. All right. So get together with your tables over there, tables over here. Go for it.
That's all it's